This video is our class summary of all the big ideas we learned in Humanities 8 this year. Starting with the ancient Olympics in Greece and ending with a focus on world history, these are a few of the big ideas that have helped shape the world we live in.
One of the first subjects we studied this year were the Olympic Games in the ancient times as well as the modern. We looked into the various events that took place in the ancient Olympics and compared those events to the ones of the modern Olympics. In the ancient times, the events consisted of the Panhellenic and the Panthenian Games, which included the discus throw, long jump, javelin throw, boxing, and wrestling. We reviewed that now in the modern Olympics, winners of the events are rewarded with a medal of gold for the first place winner, silver for the second, or bronze for the third.
The next unit we studied was geography. In the geography unit, we learned about labeling maps, using latitude and longitude to find places, and working with legends. We learned about mapping, which helped us interpret maps. Using mapping tools allowed us to figure out the positions of places around the world. It was important to learn about geography because it enables us to understand how to read, draw, and label maps and provide and read information within the map.
After the geography unit, we learned about ancient Greece. During this unit, we learned about the ancient Greek gods as well as many other myths. We learned what the gods controlled and what they affected. We were also taught about what god would be appropriate to pray to at certain moments, and they would worship the god. We also learned about Troy and the Trojan War. We were taught about the history and mythology of Troy and why the Trojan War took place. This unit was important because we learned the effect mythology had on the history of Greece.
The next unit we studied was religion. The three main monotheistic religions are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Christianity is based on the teachings of Jesus Christ, who lived about 2,000 years ago. The Roman governor of Palestine executed Jesus by nailing him to a cross. Muslims believe that Muhammad was the last in a series of holy prophets. They believe in their God Allah. They read the Quran, which is their holy book. Judaism is the oldest religion of the Western world that influenced Christianity and Islam. Jews believe in the Book of Torah, which is the Old Testament and the Bible. This is the basic introduction to world religions.
After world religion, we learned about short stories and Greek mythology. During this unit, we learned about ancient Greek gods. We also learned what they controlled and affected. We were also taught how they were worshipped and prayed to. We learned about the Trojan War, the mythology, and the history of it. This unit was important because we learned of the effect that mythology had on history.
Following the unit on mythology and short stories, we started learning about poetry. As a class, we learned about poetry from Miss Kim. Miss Kim is a student from UBC who taught our class for about 2.5 months. Overall, we learned several new kinds of poems, such as cinquains, diamantes, acrostics, free verses, and haikus. We also learned 21 poetic devices, including alliteration, irony, personification, and onomatopoeia.
After poetry, we learned the parts of speech unit. We learned the structure of essays and how to put them together. We also learned parts of speech and how to present. Parts of speech helped us in writing our cross grades and when we wrote our short stories. This unit mattered because it helped us organize our ideas and put them into writing. We also learned about how climax is the most important part of the story. Aside from short stories, we also learned how to write and construct an essay. In an essay, you have to start with a thesis, followed by supporting details, and lastly, a conclusion. After the parts of speech unit, we read the novel The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. What the class found really interesting was that S.E. Hinton was only 16 when she wrote the book. The book The Outsiders was our novel study for this year. It's a book based on some kids around our age that are trying to find their identity and get through their hardships. It was great because a lot of us were really able to relate to the characters since they were close to our age. It was interesting to read about how kids' lives used to be in the 1960s. We learned all kinds of things from the book, like to accept others, not judge people, and that everything really isn't as it seems. After we finished the book, we watched the movie and it was awesome. Most people in the class loved The Outsiders and had lots of fun during this unit. In fact, most of the class wrote the year-end cross-grade about hardships using examples from this novel to support their thesis.
The next project we learned this year was Genius Hour. Genius Hour was a project in which each student had the opportunity to research a topic of their choice and present it to the class. Topics range from drawing and artwork to the Korean War. This project allowed us to learn a significant amount about a variety of topics in a relatively short time period. 5 interesting topics chosen were microexpressions, pareidolia, Nikola Tesla, and the Korean War, and photo editing.
The most interesting project we did this year was the Kiva project. Kiva is a non-profit organization with a mission to connect people through lending so people from poorer countries can start businesses and provide for their families. Our class got into groups and researched people on kiva.com to look for the best person to lend to. Apart from researching, we were bringing in money every day, and we raised over $200. As a class, we chose to lend to Oliberto from Salvador and Ochurai from Kenya. We chose Oliberto because he wanted to start a business so he could provide a better life and education for his kids. He has repaid our loan, and now we're going to find someone new to help.